Like I've been alone and like really lonely sometimes. It's Sunday in Rio, so we're going to the beach to host a sunset yoga social event on Leblon Beach. I'm walking kind of on the boardwalk because on Sundays they close this entire thing down kind of to promote like exercising and community. So it's really beautiful. Like in Rio, this whole street is like empty so that like bikers and walkers can go. But I host these events around once a week so that people can meet each other, people who are solo traveling or Brazilians who want to make new friends. And it's really cool. But it's fun when I think about how this started in January. So now it's been like 5 months of this where I was feeling kind of lonely in Rio because I was a solo traveler, digital nomad, and I wanted to make new friends. But whenever I would go to hostels, I would meet people who just kind of want to drink and party and kind of do more temporary things. And I feel like the connections weren't that lasting because it draws in a crowd of people that kind of are just looking to have a fun time when they're here and go really, really hard and party. And then like in a couple days, they're gone. So I used to go to the hostel just to get like a social aspect, but I found that whenever I would go there, I would find people who just are always like, oh, you want to go see Christ the Redeemer? Oh, you want to do this thing? And it's really like a short-lived connection. And I wanted to find a way to meet people who kind of I can connect with deeper, like beyond the conversation of like, where are we going out tonight? Or like, what guy do you think is cute? And I feel like I had recognized that I wasn't really seeing anything in Rio where I could find like-minded community. Like I could go to a yoga class, I could like go to these things, but like people are just there to take the class and then go home. They're not necessarily there to like socialize and do things like that. And I think back home in the US, they have like run clubs and stuff to encourage people to meet, but nothing quite exactly like what I was envisioning. Like I was envisioning like family dinners, watching the sunset together, like going to DJ sets together, getting acai in the morning, checking out the markets together, and that didn't really exist. And at first, I was looking for it to kind of find something that would allow me to do that. And then I recognized like maybe it doesn't exist because I'm supposed to create it. And that created a big leap of okay, maybe it's something that you want because other people could want it too. Like maybe, who knows? And it's funny to see how far that has developed so far because my first event was sunrise yoga at the beach, like the first Sunday of the year. So it was like 4:30 a.m. And I remember setting up that event and thinking like, I don't even like to wake up that early for sunrise. So like, let's see who comes. I've learned so much since then because that first event, like I collected emails and the sign up and then I forgot to send like a reminder email about it. Despite not sending out the reminder email and forgetting about things like that, setting a time that maybe most people wouldn't want to go to, I still had 10 people come to that event. And that was really proof enough to me of like, there is demand for this thing. People want to meet other people in a setting that isn't just revolved around partying or drinking. People want to make lasting connections with foreigners, travelers, digital nomads, but also local Brazilians. And that's kind of my mission with Soulshine is to create community events where you can meet new people in public again. You can meet new people without the context of it being around drinking or partying, and you can meet people who you know want to also expand their community and build more lasting connections. My goal with this is to also draw in people who care about wellness, like who care about like seeing the daylight, who care about being in the sun, being outside, moving their body, be active. But I want to draw in more of a diverse spread of events. And I've been thinking about integrating more with the Rio community too. I've done a couple events with like some restaurants and an acai place that kind of has lower amount of customers during certain hours. So then I would bring in a large group of people. Soulshine got to over 50 people at some of our events. I think our family dinner had like 60 people last time. And I feel like it's a really cool opportunity to kind of create what doesn't exist because you know you want it, which means that other people want it too. I actually went home for a couple weeks to California and in New York and like a little bit of travel as I left Brazil. And when I came back to Brazil, I did a full moon ceremony last month. But after that, lost momentum for a little bit and was kind of connecting back to my why of like, why am I hosting these events every week? Is it because I've already been doing it and I just have the momentum, or is it because I'm trying to bring value to people? And when I come back to my why, which was I want to connect people who want to build community, who want to feel a sense of community in this more independent life they might have built. Like I think that the people that Soulshine attracts are people who are independently really good on their own. They're like building their own business, or they're traveling the world, or they're locked in other aspects of their life, and maybe they just want to connect and meet other people. And I have recently found people like DMing me and messaging me on Instagram of like, hey, I really connect to your story. Like, hey, I'm also alone in Rio and I want to make new friends. And I think that this kind of desire and ambition to connect with others is so natural as a human being, because we crave connection and we crave community. And I realized that Soulshine draws these people in who have a lot of ambition and have a lot of care about creating a really good life for themselves, and also about becoming a better person, but want to be in community with other people who are doing that. They always say you're the average of the 5 people in your life that you're closest to. And I think that when you're solo traveling the world, like I've been alone and like really lonely sometimes too. It's kind of hard sometimes when you're feeling really good with yourself, like confident enough in yourself to like travel the world and like meet new people, and also like take yourself around the world and see the places that you want to see. But it comes with the price of sometimes you miss home, you miss your friends back home. You feel like you're not making as much lasting connection. So with Soulshine, I'm hoping to kind of bring together people who have that desire for community and want to grow with other people alongside them, because I think that when you're around like-minded people who care about the same things that you do, it allows your growth to just be expedited so much, because suddenly you're around people who inspire you, and we can always learn from the people around us. And I think that the people that I've connected with through Soulshine who are in Rio have just infinitely expanded me and given me a sense of home in this country that I didn't know anyone. I didn't know anyone here when I first got here in September. I didn't speak the language. I didn't know anybody here. I didn't have that community. And now I feel like I'm slowly building it. So I feel like the biggest thing that I've learned is that if there's something that you want and it doesn't exist, why not you creating it? Because I'm sure somebody else has that same desire of something that they want to. Like someone else out there cares for and wants the same thing that you are thinking about creating. And if it's that fear of like, oh, maybe no one will come, maybe no one wants this too, like I promise you, someone else is in the same boat as you. And if you're brave enough to try to create that thing, you will just align so many wonderful, abundant, magnetic connections to you. Because imagine being surrounded by people who care about the same thing as you do, just because you took the chance to create something, even if you didn't know it was going to work out. I've never created a business before or anything like that. This kind of social club was kind of my first attempt at it. I only just like posted the events on Instagram, and it was kind of just a random like call out of like, I don't know who's gonna show up, but like maybe people will care. And I would just post a couple Instagrams and TikToks promoting it. And the way that it's blossomed and grown has been really cool to see. Like some random idea I had walking at sunset alone on the beach blossomed into this. So imagine what would happen if you ran with those little intuitive ideas that you had, and you don't know if they're gonna work, but you just decide to go ahead and try anyway, because you don't know how it will turn out. And today I'm hosting sunset yoga on the beach. It's the last day of May. Coincidentally, the full moon this month is on the first day of May, May 1st, and then May 31st, the last day of May, which I think is really cool and full circle. And I had a full moon ceremony on May 1st with this girl that I met here, like through a Soulshine event. She came to my very first event, and she was like, hey, I would love to host an event with you through Soulshine. So she hosted a full moon ceremony with me then. And then today I'm hosting sunset yoga and a release with the full moon today as well. So I think it's just cool how the universe, the world brings together like-minded community and connections when you allow yourself the opportunity to meet new people. I'm turning in, I just took my shoes off, and I'm going to the spot where we're gonna do the sunset yoga. And it's funny because the way that I discovered this spot is this is just like where I would normally walk every single day. After work, I would go here for like a beach walk, and I was always noticing, oh, this spot's like kind of empty, like it's kind of nice and beautiful. Like there's a bunch of like beach tennis courts, but no one's really using them a lot of the times at sunset time. And I think it's kind of like the perfect overlook to the sunset. So I've been doing the sunset yoga here the last couple weeks, and I think it's really funny how it's just like, oh, like one by one after you make the decision, the kind of choices just come aligned for you. Like first I decided that I want to do this club. Okay, now where? I go on a walk, I find this place. And it's just like the baby steps in building what you want. Because if you're trying to build everything at once and just like sit down and plan everything before you start, you honestly probably won't even start because it's overwhelming to you of like how many things you have to decide and choose, and like making decisions. Like decision paralysis is so real. I feel like a lot of people struggle because they want to make something perfect and they want their choice to be all planned out before they even start. And that's kind of the reason why people don't even start. And me sometimes in a lot of cases too, like for example, if I was deciding what the name of Soulshine should be and I like really couldn't come up with the perfect name, then like maybe I would have never even created the community. But instead it's kind of like forcing yourself to take action, and then as you take each little action, you're like slowly creating what you want, right? But I also get stuck in that sometimes of like just trying to plan everything perfectly and then it never starts. So I feel like the best thing is just to like start imperfectly, because you have to make it exist first and you can make it good later. And I think that's the case of everything in this life, where you have to start that momentum of creating something that you want, even if you don't know exactly how it's going to look like yet, because it will come and it will come with time. And right now, the state of Soulshine is it's been mostly free events so far, but it's been a lot to like coordinate and plan and run all these events. I have an amazing graphic designer who's working with me from Sao Paulo. His name is Andre, and he's been working with me completely for free. And so I'm also learning how to, okay, what are the next steps I can make to monetize this community? What is the value that I'm providing that people would be willing to support and contribute to, so that the community can grow, so that we can expand to have more events, more types of event. Maybe we can book venues, because right now the events on the beach are wonderful because they're free, but they're so dependent on weather. I've had to cancel a couple events because of the rain. So I think that all of these considerations are helping me and recognize like what it takes to build something real and build something new. And it's also allowing me to identify in my life where I might be holding limiting beliefs that are holding me back from charging for these events, for example. Maybe it's something of, am I believing that I am worthy of creating an event that people would want to pay for? Or do I believe I am worthy of attracting energy from people who want to come to an event like this? What am I offering energetically? What am I offering as for a community that people might be interested in? And I think that I'm slowly learning communication skills, planning skills, and I can see how building this project isn't just me building this project for other people. It's very much a journey for myself inwardly, because I'm learning how to communicate, how to get over my fear of being seen by promoting these events very publicly. I'm kind of putting myself out there, right? Like I can host an event and maybe nobody comes one day. And then that's something I have to work on to recognize that the number of people who come isn't a reflection of my worth. Maybe it just means I need to market it better, or maybe it means that wasn't quite the right fit for the community. So I think it's really beautiful how building a community like this can seem like, oh, you're just doing this great thing for Rio. But in reality, it's the mission of it was something that I deeply needed inherently. So I think that when you're driven by your mission, by your purpose, then you'll create something really beautiful and authentic, because it is you and it is aligned with your deepest desires of what you want. Now I've sat at the spot where I want to host the yoga, and I think I'm gonna have everyone sit like right here. There's Christ the Redeemer in the background, which is so beautiful. And then to the left, there's Dos Mouse. I'll never get over this view. And then, of course, in front of us, we have the ocean, which is so, so beautiful. I remember the first time I hosted yoga here at this very spot, and it was exactly the time of the yoga class. I think it was like 5:30, which is when I had the event start. And then it reached 5:30 and zero people were here. And all of my fears were being activated in that moment, because I was like, oh wow, I advertised this for weeks and like no one's here. That's like so embarrassing, or that's like awkward or whatever. And then I had to recognize like whatever happens in life is not a reflection of me. It's a reflection of the circumstances that are happening at the time. And maybe it's something that I can learn from. Like maybe I can plan a little better. Maybe I can promote a little better. Maybe I can pour into that aspect. But it's funny because like as soon as those fears were activated, I recognized it's a time to either like be consumed by the fear and be like, oh my God, like I'm so stressed, nobody came. Or it's a time to be like, that's okay. I can learn from this and be better. And recognize at that point, like what my relationship with myself looks like. If I'm like, you're so stupid. Like, well, how could you do that? Like, why didn't you plan better? That's like a sign that I'm not in tune with myself, right? Versus if I'm like, okay, that's okay. These things happen. It's life. Sometimes people are busy. I think it was a week of carnival right before. So recognizing that like these things happen and that's okay. And it's not a reflection of my worth, but it's something that I can learn from. And that's a big growing point that I had. And then it was so funny because literally 10 minutes later, it was just that people in Brazil just like come a little later to events. I think because like the city's so big and people are always moving from place to place. And then it ended up being, I think, 40 people that all just didn't make it on time. So I think it's really interesting when you reflect on how you see different things that happen. I think that building a business, building a community can activate a lot of fears that you didn't even know you had. But I feel like it's activating in myself this big personal development journey where I'm learning a lot about who I am, who I want to show up as, and how I want to treat myself in the process. I think it's also cool because my mission with the intention of Soulshine was for me at the beginning, right? It was like, I want to make friends in Rio. And then now I have this really big, beautiful community. I have this really beautiful community of friends in Rio. And I don't have like the need to like, I need to go here to make new friends and to meet new people. Like, of course, it's wonderful to meet new people, but it's like I have my friends in Rio now. And now I think that my intention for Soulshine has changed a bit to help other people connect in Rio, to help other people feel less lonely, to think of the version of me like 9 months ago who reached Rio and was really lonely and was like loving this beautiful, gorgeous place, but wanting someone to share it with. And then now I can show up for those people and show them like, hey, this thing exists. So like, you don't have to feel like how I felt a couple years ago, or rather a couple months ago. And I think that life is a lot about that. I make a lot of mindset and like personal development content on social media. And my target audience in that is me a couple of years ago, like what I needed to hear a couple of years ago. And a lot of times, like what I need to hear now, and me saying it and posting it kind of just reiterates it for me of like, you need to remember this, like this is important. And this is something that you want to remember and integrate into your life. So I think that when you're building something and creating something, build it and create it for the version of you a couple of years ago who really needed to hear the thing or really wanted that thing, because then it's genuine and aligned to who you are, because it's created from your heart, because you wanted it in your heart and you felt the need for it in your heart. And I think that it will feel like incredibly more fulfilling because you created it because you really needed it at some point. And I think it's healing for your inner child, healing for your relationship with yourself as well, because it's like, oh, I see you, the version of you a couple months ago, and you're able to like create this for you. Like, what a gift to a past version of you.